Yeah, I think it was just really great to see, even though there was a lack of promotion by the...
It was the first quarter as a warm-up. We got to be ready to go. Carter without the ball. Good cut.
Carter from the free throw line.
Soft touch.
Knocks it down. She's got the last 5 for Chicago in a double figure.
Imagine a player so fierce, she'd risk it all for a win. That's Chennedy Carter. Her latest move against Marina Mabrey wasn't just a foul. It was a karate chop that's got everyone talking. Is this the end of Carter's WNBA journey, or just another chapter in her controversial career? What's the big deal? Maybe asking yourself. Gamers constantly act harshly. This is where things get crazy though. Everyone is talking about Chennedy Carter for taking aggressive play to a whole new level. Imagine this. The matchup between the Connecticut Sun and Chicago Sky is very important. Every action matters, and there is a lot of anxiety. On the court, Carter is renowned for her ferocious style. She suddenly does something that stops everyone cold. Here, we're not discussing a straightforward foul. It's moments like these that leave you wondering whether she forgot she was a basketball player. How did Carter behave? She gave Marina Mabrey what is referred to as a karate chop. All of us have witnessed fouls before, but this one, there was something different about this. Witnesses reported seeing a strong arm swing, and here's the thing, it wasn't even directed toward the ball. It was an open assault on Mabrey. The referees were unable to ignore it. They declared a flagrant foul, but a lot of people believe that was far too lax. This was more than a spur-of-the-moment error. It was entirely outside the bounds of typical basketball play, risky and intentional. The worst part is that Carter isn't new to this. Throughout the league, there are raised eyebrows due of her harsh past. To put it plainly, one commentator said, "This isn't a player acting erratically. This is Chennedy Carter's identity." What does this signify for the WNBA and Carter then? That's where things become tricky though. The league must answer some difficult questions. When a player appears to be on the verge of being dangerous rather than competitive, how do you approach them? Is a flagrant foul sufficient, or does the WNBA need to implement more severe sanctions? Given Carter's past performance, others are urging more severe penalties. They're arguing that before someone is gravely injured, the league needs to speak up. Ultimately, this is about establishing the bar for what constitutes appropriate behavior in professional women's basketball, not just about one game or one player. How did the coach react to all of this? Is probably what you're wondering now. Prepare yourselves for a shocking turn of events.
I'd also mentioned that they haven't had any practice time, and a little bit of practice.
This was the first quarter as a warm-up. We got to be ready to go. Carter without the ball. Good cut.
Connor and AT hasn't been necessarily partaking in all of...
Carter's move was the topic of the game, but the real conversation started when something unexpected happened. Imagine a coach who is called for a foul that could change the course of the game. How do you think they would respond? For all the wrong reasons, Coach Teresa Weatherspoon's reaction is causing a stir. For a moment, let's discuss Coach Weatherspoon. She is not just any coach, rather she is the Chicago Sky's leader and a WNBA legend. When it comes to significant fouls, you would think she would be all business, right? False. All eyes were on Weatherspoon as the referees called a review of Carter's karate chop maneuver. What did they observe then? A laughing, smiling coach. Yes, you did indeed hear that. Weatherspoon seemed to find the whole event funny, while everyone else was still trying to figure out what had just happened. It seems as though she was watching a comedy program and forgot she was the head coach of a professional basketball team. But this is more than simply a coach laughing. There are some serious concerns regarding the culture of the Chicago Sky organization after Weatherspoon's response. What message does the player receive when a coach laughs off hostile behavior? You could say something like, "Hey, no big deal if you decide to go all kung fu on the court."
Yeah, I think it was just really great to see, even though there was a lack of promotion by the...
Trade on Marina Mabrey from the three-point line for Chicago. And already an offensive rebound for Cardoso. And it gives that...
Carter from the right elbow, spotting and staring down the Connecticut bench.
This is why Marina Mabrey wanted out. It comes from the coach, a commenter accurately stated, hurt, For Weatherspoon and the Sky, that must hurt. It raises the possibility that there is more to the team's handling of player behavior than just one isolated event. Consider it. How would you feel as a player for the Sky if you witnessed your coach giggling during a critical foul review? It might lead you to believe that playing aggressively is acceptable or even encouraged, and that's not precisely the kind of team culture that keeps players safe or brings home trophies. However, Weatherspoon's response has an effect that extends beyond her group. The Chicago Sky's reputation within the league may be impacted by this kind of action. It doesn't exactly scream professionalism when other teams witness a coach who appears to support aggressive play. This is the kind of thing that might cause players to reconsider joining the Sky or lessen the likelihood that other teams will consider them a genuine rival. Not to be overlooked are the supporters. In particular, when it comes to player safety, basketball supporters demand their teams to play with seriousness. Witnessing an instructor brush off a potentially hazardous play, many of his supporters will find that offensive. It might even cause some supporters to stop supporting the team entirely. What does this imply for Chennedy Carter's potential employment with the Sky then? It's hardly exactly motivating to change when your coach laughs at your hostile behavior, is it? It can be interpreted as permission for Carter to continue pushing the envelope, which is the last thing the WNBA needs at this point. There's more to the story than what you might assume regarding Carter and Weatherspoon. The WNBA is at a turning point in its history, and the decisions made now might make or kill the league. Are we seeing the beginning of the end for the current era of women's professional basketball? For a moment, let's pan out to see the wider view. Weatherspoon's laughter and Carter's karate skills aren't isolated incidents. They are a part of an expanding movement that is causing the WNBA great trouble. We are discussing a problem affecting the entire league that has the potential to destroy all that women's basketball has accomplished. Critics are afraid, not just angry. They want the WNBA to take immediate action against aggressive behavior. Why? Because it's not just the participating players who suffer from situations like Carter's foul. They harm the league as a whole. Consider it. What would happen to the WNBA's reputation if spectators began to believe that players could take karate chops without repercussions? But it goes beyond just looking awful. The issue is player safety. A player puts their trust in the league to look out for them each and every time they step onto the court. But that trust begins to erode when violent play is tolerated, and it's difficult to regain once that's gone. This is where things become really fascinating though. This goes beyond Chennedy Carter alone. Do you recall Angel Reese? People are talking about her latest performance, but not always in a positive way. It seems as though women's basketball is experiencing a surge of contentious conduct that the league is finding it difficult to cope with. One pundit didn't hold back when he said, "This kind of garbage has to stop. Yet the WNBA should suspend someone after the fact." Enough is enough. That's not merely a sign of displeasure. It's an appeal for responsibility. What then should the WNBA do? They find themselves in a precarious situation. They have to uphold the integrity of the game while also safeguarding their athletes.
Back on June 27th, first quarter for the Sky. They won it against the Aces, but
Carter from the free throw line.
Soft touch.
Knocks it down. She's got the last 5 for Chicago into double figures.
Part of the season out with injury. It's great to see her be able to get herself back. Reese frustrated, thought she should have gotten the...
However, they also don't want to lessen the fervor and energy that define great basketball. The problem is that they might not have an option if they don't take action quickly. The fans are growing agitated, gamers are beginning to worry, and backers, to put it mildly, they're watching this whole thing very carefully. The WNBA must tread carefully. It is imperative that they convey unequivocally that hazardous play will not be accepted, while avoiding making every match an official's worst nightmare. They're doing a balancing act, and at the moment, it feels unsteady. A few are demanding more severe punishments. Some desire improved coaching and player development. Some are even calling for a total revision of the league's code of conduct. One thing is certain, regardless of the outcome, the WNBA cannot afford to ignore this one. And here's the worrying part. If they don't figure this out quickly, it might start to interfere with the gameplay. Imagine athletes holding back on opportunities to score because they fear injury, or coaches who know they can get away with it yet are encouraging aggressive behavior. That isn't the WNBA that we are familiar with. What comes next then? The WNBA now has the ball in its court. They must choose the type of league they wish to play in. Do they wish to be recognized as a venue where players may showcase their abilities, or a theater of operations where anything goes? Everyone is watching and the clock is ticking. Everyone is waiting to see what the WNBA will do, including coaches, players, and fans. Will they take the lead and establish new guidelines for player behavior, or are they going to let this chance pass them by?